Hello, viewers. Today I'm going to share some things about why doing deep inner work really matters. And I created a custom GPT that I put in a lot of things about myself of doing a lot of deep inner work that in the past I had a lot of shame around. But because I was able to essentially process it and alchemize it, I'm able to live a life that now I feel truly is one that I always dreamed about and didn't know it was possible until I actually was able to do the deep inner work. So why is it important to do the deep inner work, but especially so as a steel genius? So this is what talks about why is it important for everybody. This is not just for steel genius, but for humans in general. It's like how we respond to peel away the survival layers of identity we built in response to trauma, conditioning, or misalignment is to know your true self beyond coping strategies, losing shame, fear, and guilt, and unlocking intuition and alignment decision making, and stepping your authentic power and service. But I'm going to talk about this is for everybody, but let me share especially important for steel geniuses. Like humans, lords are wired for precision, logic, system, and trust, but that very soon could be a fortress where hide with vulnerability, heart, and uncertainty, and it works how you alchemize that fortress in the temple. And these are things like crave certainty, but life flows through uncertainty. Inner work trained you to soften grip without losing of control, without losing clarity, trust emotional authority. This is me as a projector in human design, and I'm a emotional authority. So without this kind of trapped analysis paralysis, emotional paralysis, high end of being wrong. And this is a really key point because that was me for the longest time of feeling like I have to get everything right. I can't make a mistake. And if I do, it feels like in my body that I'm going to be punished and I'm not going to be alive anymore. So this is really key, especially around carrying silent burdens, perfectionism, performance based, or deep rooted shame, trauma, or not being good enough. And deep inner work allows you to rewrite that subconscious programming, reclaim power from past survival strategies, and separate your values from your output. And you don't think about earning your right to exist through productivity or being flawless execution. And th- there's just a lot of things in here that if you could read over more in detail of why it's so important. And trust me, this is actually something that I didn't know until I started doing the deep inner work of understanding a lot of these things of why was I behaving the way I did. And to be frank with you, what it was a lot of things that I've experienced growing up, being born with anorectal malformation, meaning that I didn't have a complete anal sphincter, and I had to have a surgery when I was 24 hours, or else I would have been dead. I would have lived at most a day because I couldn't poop. And when the baby can't poop, everything is trapped in the body and it can't process the waste. So that essentially was kind of how I came into the world. And because of that, there was a lot of shame, anger, guilt, frustration, resentment, and just a lot of things about my body where I couldn't trust because I didn't have normal bowel control movement. And I had to work through all of that. But it wasn't to start doing deep inner work where I was able to start forgiving myself that I'm not, my body's not defective. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm lovable. And there's things that, yeah, it's not always convenient, but it doesn't mean that I'm a defective person. It doesn't mean that I'm not good enough. It doesn't mean that I'm not valuable in other ways. That's beyond what my body can do. And this is really key, especially when you talk about what happens when the steel genius does it, deep inner work. Move from shame to worthiness, control to trust and timing, isolation, body connection, obsession with how, with why, fear of being wrong, peace with unfolding, and a back roll versus a backward division. So this is really key. You just don't build a system. You become the structure that holds other people to the highest integrity. And Steel Genius, who does inner work, becomes a quiet force that creates safety, stability, and skill that the world desperately needs. And understand that you are not your thoughts, and you are not judged and valued based on being right and knowing how to do everything. This is really key because until you understand that and until you do the deep inner work, this might sound logically okay, makes sense, but emotionally, it doesn't. And one of the things, especially for me as a SEAL genius, as great as my mind is, which I believe it is truly pretty special of how I'm able to think about things. When I did the deep inner work, I realized my true superpower is my body and my heart. And that's truly where everything lies. And it complements my mind. And it's just as important, if not more important, than my mind. So, let me just share that real quick. With like, what does it? Until I did the deep inner work, I thought that my mind was the most important thing about me, but I now know that it's my heart. That's my true superpower. So, right there, transmission on reflection from mind and heart. Sujin, boom. To deep inner work. Yeah. This definitely was huge for me. It felt useful, valuable, and indispensable. It's like, am I more than what I do? And this all things I've done: breath work, tear, pride, being myself, meditation. Yeah, and this is all true, even though it's written by AI. But I'm able to read this and acknowledge myself and know that what it means to be human. So this is truly what I believe is superpower of the SEAL genius is. As great as our minds are, ultimately what matters is who we are in our body and our heart. And being able to have people acknowledge that, yeah, we're absolutely incredible at being able to organize things, do calculations, and more importantly, being that one that could be always counted on, could deliver every single time. But really is how we feel as human beings that ultimately matter. And the fact that when we combine this with our intelligence and intellect, our bodies and our mind could work as one. That's really what it means to be a true SEAL genius. So this is just some things I want to share with you because I felt like a lot of times we're in our head so much that we don't even know how powerful our bodies are. And by being able to do the deep inner work, we can start something as simple as meditation. Just being able to meditate and be silent, doing that for 5 minutes a day, you're able to realize how powerful your body is. And there's plenty of other things I could share with you, but that's just something you can start with of being able to do the deep inner work. And wanted to be able to create this video because I felt really called to share what could be possible when a SEAL genius is able to tap into his or her heart by doing the deep inner work. So if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be able to share more of these kind of thoughts of what does it mean for a SEAL genius to do deep inner work.